What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. Glad to be back in here on a Wednesday. I missed trivia last week, I guess it was. I heard that you and Jack maybe took a shot at me for being old and Jack being the oldest guy on the show last week. Somebody sent me
Did we
that.
take a shot?
I don't know. Maybe not. But anyway, trivia is back on this Wednesday at the end of the show. But a couple of press conference yesterday for the Tennessee Titans as L'Jarius Sneed, new Titans cornerback, introduced the Titans media and the Titans fans at his press conference. We'll play a clip from that and also have a little quick conversation about L'Jarius Sneed and what it felt like to watch him and everything that he had to say yesterday, including the knee injury narrative that was going around that we had heard a lot of and reported on throughout this process this offseason. And then we'll dive into a narrative in the NFL draft. The Titans will not stop feeding us. It's not just coming from Rand Carthon, but it's also coming from Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, who put out a video on Twitter yesterday as well. So we'll dive into that. We'll see if we buy or sell this Titans narrative about the NFL draft. And we will get to our Wednesday sports trivia. But Sam, welcome in. Hope you've had a good week so far, but going to have a good, strong end of the week here on this morning show as April continues to roll on. We are just about 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. That'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, believe it or not. So we're going to have a great show here on this Wednesday. Let's get it going.
Hey, let's do it. Appreciate everybody joining us. And I see that, we've got some people fighting through injury this morning. Has a broken butt, as she said, because of the ice in Michigan. Didn't know it was icy in Michigan, but whether you're Ann, whether you're somebody else, whether you're tuning in this morning, appreciate you being here with us. And make sure you share the show before we get going here. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link. You can send it to a friend. You can send it to a group chat, family group chat, friends group chat, fantasy football group chat, whoever is that football fan in your life that needs A to Z Sports, go ahead and send them this morning's show and do it that way. Just make sure you share the show before we kick things off and have a great morning here on a Wednesday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter at A2ZSports.com. And we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A2Z Sports. And also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us. And they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the mid-state, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. They're online at KrebsKubota.com. So, Sam, you were at the press conference yesterday. The Titans were sitting set to introduce L'Jarius Sneed, the new Titans cornerback, traded for with the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2025 third-round pick and a 7th-round pick swap this year's draft, and also a new $76+ million contract for L'Jarius Sneed. And so before we I'll start off. Before we play the clip from Sneed, I will let you kind of set the scene for us. What was it like watching his press conference overall in the room? You asked him a few questions about his play style, the hip drop tackle, and some other things. But what was your overall vibe takeaway from the new Titans lockdown corner?
Yeah, I mean, not quite the Calvin Ridley press conference, not quite that level of personality from L'Jarius Sneed. He seemed very, excited, obviously, to get the new deal, excited to be there, excited to play football. I think it was a lot of stuff that just kind of made sense and a lot of kind of wait and see. And we'll get into a little bit of that more regarding, his knee injury and the style of play fitting into Denard Wilson's defense. L'Jarius Sneed said all of the right things. I think if you're a Titans fan right now, the more that he speaks, the more that you hear Rand Carthon speak about him, the more that you gather context of how this trade and contract extension went down, I think you feel a little bit better. I think you feel more confident in Sneed's ability to be on the field and in the Titans' ability to really have a complete secondary and complete defense here. So said all the right things. Did I come away overwhelmed by anything? No, not particularly. But, felt good for L'Jarius Sneed, and he looked pretty fire doing it. He had an immaculate drip with his suit getup.
Yeah, let's take a look at that suit jacket and then hear from L'Jarius Sneed overall, and then what he said about the knee injury information that came out a lot through the reporting of his situation this offseason.
$22 million is what you guys were after. You settled at 19. Like, is that report true? And then how did you get to the 19? How did that process?
I mean, I just feel like I deserve to be the highest paid off of my season that I had last year, and that's why I want to shoot that number up there high, and I feel that I deserved it. But things worked out for me and for my family, and for the organization of the Tennessee Titans. Happy to be here.
How much did the conversation with Rand,
It's great. I feel a connection already. I feel like family. He's making me feel comfortable already. In this facility, and it's my first time meeting him and the whole organization.
What do you think about the situation you're coming into, Darius, in terms of having a defensive coordinator who was a secondary guy and playing with Chidobe also? What are your impressions?
Oh, man, I can say, we're going to have something very special. Everybody's new coming into here, and, we got enough time to build, to see what we have.
The situation with the knees, I mean, you played plenty of snaps. You didn't miss any games. But how did you manage it last year, and how do you look to manage that going forward?
Oh, man, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with my knee. I'm fine. I played the whole season, and the years before that I played as well. I had a couple of problems. I had banged up knee before, but I'm good right now. Nothing is really wrong with my knee.
So it's not a situation that you have to manage going forward?
No, I know what to do with my knee. I'm coming out here to play ball.
So, he says he feels like he deserved to be the highest paid corner there.
Mm-hmm.
I would disagree with that. I don't think L'Jarius Sneed is the best cornerback in football, and that's okay, right? It's okay to have him not be the best corner in football. Frankly, I don't think he's a top 5 corner in football, which is kind of what he's paid to be. And that's also okay because, as some of the people in the chat pointed out here, like, this cap is going to continue to go up. That contract is not going to be the 5th highest or 6th highest, whatever it is, cornerback contract in the league. So I think the money is right. I do think the Titans got the overall evaluation of L'Jarius Sneed right. The big question is the availability, because of $55 million in full guarantees. That doesn't give you a lot of protection from injury. There are concerns about the knee. So, Austin, how did you feel about L'Jarius Sneed's comments there about the knee, saying at first, hey, nothing's wrong with my knee, I'm good, to I know what to do with my knee. I'm here to play football.
Yeah, he contradicted himself. I mean, like, he admitted to having problems with his knee in the past, and then he knows how to manage it going forward. But I get it. Like, he's confident in his ability. He managed the knee injury all last year. Missing practice, being on the injury report for like 85% of the season, but not missing a single game and playing legitimate football and locking down the best wide receivers in the NFL that the Chiefs had to play against. He was a shadow the number 1 guy type of corner, which I think does make him a top 5 corner in this league, by the way, because not every cornerback is shadowing the number 1 guy on the other team like L'Jarius Sneed is. So his level of difficulty, he is taking the AP class, maybe when Jalen Ramsey as a side corner or somebody else who's in the conversation for the top corner is not shadowing. They're playing left or right. But I do think he's a top 5 corner regardless. But look, there is something with his knee. Like, this was coming out before he was franchise tagged with the Chiefs, after he was franchise tagged with the Chiefs, and about the guaranteed money with the Colts, with the Titans, with the $22 million a year that he wanted, that he settled for 19. You got a lot of guaranteed money from the Titans and make him feel comfortable to do that. There is something with his knee long-term. Is it a problem in 2024? Probably not. Is it a problem in 25, 26, 27 for the duration of the contract? Maybe. But, if you can set up the contract structure, and Vin Marino, who Rand Carthon talked about yesterday in the press conference, is very good at doing that. That's how the Titans have the ability to get out of deals whenever they want to and not have it crush them. And so, look, there is something with L'Jarius Sneed's knee, or else he would have not had to answer like the management thing and like, yeah, I know what to do with my knee. Like that there alone says that there is something going along with the knee, but maybe it's not a huge issue right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is something here. There is some level of management that is going to be required. I read through this answer as I know what to do and it's going to be fine and stop asking about it. And I think that's really all that Titans fans and Titans media can do is just trust at this point that L'Jarius Sneed can take care of his knee and he knows what he needs to do. He knows his body and he's going to be fine. Obviously, the Titans believe he's going to be fine, or they wouldn't have given him $55 million in guarantees after, going through a physical with him. So does it mean he's flawless and perfect and doesn't have any management? No, I don't think that's realistic, but doesn't mean he's going to miss time. No, I don't think so either necessarily. So we have to wait and see. We have to see kind of what plays out on the field. And until then, you just have to kind of trust L'Jarius Sneed's word.
Sure, no doubt. And Dre Clifton on YouTube maybe had missed some of the earlier conversations that we've had about this offseason. How are there injury concerns and he doesn't miss games? Well, it's not because it's a acute injury that happens right now that you heal from and you get back, right? You miss time, you get back. You sprain your ankle, you miss time, you come back. Your bone breaks, it heals, you come back. This is something that we believe, and we have a reporter for the Kansas City Chiefs as well, Charles Goldman, who does really good work. One of our managers on our website has talked about this could be a long-term knee injury that is a situation that's not just going to go away. Like, I got a bad shoulder. Had a bad shoulder for 15 years. It's still a bad shoulder. I have to protect it. I have to manage it. I can't do certain things. I have to know that. So is it one of those things where he's got a knee that he's going to have to deal with for the rest of his career? He can play through it. He can fight through it, but it's going to be a thing to manage, right? That is kind of the conversation about the Sneed knee situation. Yeah,
I do want to come back as well to the top 5 stuff because I've seen the chat kind of running rampant with that. But no, L'Jarius Sneed's not a top 5 corner in the league. He's top 10, but he's not top 5. And you can't look me in the eyes as a Titans fan and tell me you'd seriously take him over a Sauce Gardner, over Patrick Surtain, over Jalen Johnson, Trayvon Diggs, Jair Alexander, or Jalen Ramsey. They're 6. And I think all of those
Trayvon Diggs is one that I would move out. Trayvon Diggs is the interception machine, which makes him look sexy, but he gives up big plays. What L'Jarius Sneed doesn't do, give up plays. he doesn't give up receivers in the mouth and doesn't give up yards.
He's top 3, top 2 probably is just like a press man corner. He's really good at jamming at the line of scrimmage. Not as good in zone as some of those other corners. And so he doesn't create as many turnovers as some of those other corners. The 2 things he does do are cover really well in press man coverage and tackle. 2 huge assets, 2 assets that absolutely make him a top 10 corner. I don't put him in that upper echelon.
I think L'Jarius Sneed is a playmaker. He is an eliminator. He is an eraser.
And I think there's other guys that can be borderline there that you also bring up. Like somebody brings up Jeff brings up Marshawn Lattimore. Like I think there's a number of other guys that are on that bubble with Sneed. The point is, if he's not top 5 and he's 6, 7, 8, that's fine because you're paying him like 5, 6, 7 right now, and that number is going to continue to shift. Stingley, Lattimore, Bland to that list, as Corey points out. Like, there's a lot of really good corners in this league. He's top 10, and that should be good enough.
But again, like interceptions are not how you should judge cornerback play.
Sure.
That's just right. And that's just one thing. Like Deron Bland, who had like the record for pick 6s in a season, massive, right? Massive, and how that changes the game.
You could make the argument that L'Jarius Sneed wasn't the best cornerback on his team last year. You could look. Trent McDuffie is a baller.
No. Trent McDuffie is a baller. 2, L'Jarius Sneed was getting the number 1 guy. He was following the number 1 guy.
Well, so was Trent McDuffie. They both did. But
but Sneed was that guy first, and that's where
I think Sneed. I would take Sneed over Trent McDuffie. Me personally, I don't understand why the Chiefs let him go. I just think we gotta. There's levels to this, right? He's not a
It's when you're paying Patrick Mahomes $500 million. Now you're paying Chris Jones over 30. That's why you had to let L'Jarius Sneed go, because they also had this is the Chiefs, right? They had Charvarius
they could afford
Ward,
him this year. The Chiefs could have afforded him this year,
and they were fine to let him play on the tag, and they got a trade offer that they're willing to take, and boom, there you go. So
you trade him for a future future
I'm not
fourth?
trying to we don't have to get back into the trade situation.
You don't trade a top 5 corner for a future fourth.
Third. I mean, but the Chiefs are in salary cap management situation because of their big contracts to Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones.
But it's a 1-year deal on the tag. So
I know,
you're out of that contract anyway.
They figured that they were willing to take the 3rd round pick now and go ahead and get it, rather than who knows what Sneed's value is next offseason if they don't get anything for him. They just wanted to get something. So anyway, and there's a way that they're going to get the 3rd round pick in 2025 would be higher than the conditional pick they would have gotten for losing Sneed in free agency a year later. So they wanted to get the 3rd round pick.
But then obviously, you don't think the Kansas City Chiefs want a three-peat as Super Bowl champions? Like
they do.
But here's the thing. If he was leaps and bounds above Trent McDuffie and other cornerbacks on their roster, like we are talking about here, I don't believe that they're just like conditional 3rd in the future is fine. We'll let him go when we can afford his 1-year contract now, and we're still trying to contend. That doesn't check out to me, which is where I just need Titans fans to pause a little bit, look at this and say, hey, this is a huge upgrade over what we've had. This is a really, really talented player. This is a good cornerback in the league. But to sit here and label expectations on him when I don't know, has he even ever been selected? Not that this is, the deciding factor, but I don't think he's ever been a Pro Bowler. I don't think he's ever been on the All-Pro team. And to sit here and label him as a top 3, top 5 cornerback when the 2-time Super Bowl champions that have a scheme fit defense for him that could afford his contract just let him go for a conditional 3rd. I think it's not a
conditional 3rd. It's a regular 3rd.
A regular 3rd, a future 3rd.
Yes.
I just think we need to.
No, look, again, here it is. This is it. The Chiefs are a successful franchise. The Chiefs are cocky, right? Because they've won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. The Chiefs are doing something that they've already done before and had success with it and believe they can do it again. They had Charvarius Ward. He helped them win the Super Bowl. They did not pay him. He went to the Niners because they had L'Jarius Sneed. They won a Super Bowl. He grew up. They did not pay him because they had Trent McDuffie. So they let him go. They won a Super Bowl. They think that Trent McDuffie can be number 3 behind Ward, Sneed, McDuffie. And then they're going to find another dude in 2 years to be McDuffie. And then they might do the same thing with Trent McDuffie in 3 years. We don't know. But that might be the case. That is what the cocky ass Chiefs are doing right now. And they deserve to be cocky because they have Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
So that's
and I think there is something to that. I'm just, don't label guys better than they are just because they got put on your favorite team.
Okay. All right. I think L'Jarius Sneed's a very good corner. There are injury concerns. We'll see what happens with it. And I do, Sam, have the L'Jarius Sneed contract breakdown, and we'll go through that here in a second as people are throwing tomatoes at Sam. I am cool with that. I think, throw more tomatoes at Sam. Ashley and Jared and Orlando are throwing tomatoes. That's fine with me. So we'll get to the L'Jarius Sneed contract breakdown. But first, Sam, tell us all about the Bone and Joint Institute.
The Bone and Joint Institute, they're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Don't fumble on your recovery. Go to the Bone and Joint Institute located in Franklin. Schedule an appointment with our doctors for good, reliable care and a state-of-the-art rehab facility that's a one-stop shop for all of your needs. They have rehab, imaging, surgery, testing, all at the Bone and Joint Institute. So you can go there, schedule an appointment at boneandjointtn.org.
And with BetMGM, you can always win big. Our first bet offer can't be beat because it's up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you miss your first bet. But also discover BetMGM, the sports betting app Tennessee sports fans turn to for nonstop buzzer-beating action all season long. Take the hard-hitting excitement of March matchups to the next level with a lion's share promotions and betting options. Whether you're cheering courtside from the comfort of your own couch, BetMGM keeps the adrenaline pumping with every dunk, three-pointer, and buzzer beater. So join the excitement with BetMGM, and every time you wager, you earn BetMGM reward points as well, which means you can turn that convenience of online betting into real-world rewards at one of MGM's signature resorts and more. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, and for problem gamblers, sport call Tennessee Redline at 800-889-9789. On to L'Jarius Sneed contract numbers, and then we'll get to the original topic of the show. We got off on a tangent on more Sneed talk than we had previously planned on, but that's okay. So this comes out from Spotrac. I'm sorry, Over the Cap has this right now. L'Jarius Sneed, his 4-year contract, he's got a $20 million signing bonus. His salary cap hit in this year is just $9.96 million. So he's got a base salary of 4.3 with a prorated signing bonus of $5 million and a per game roster bonus of $680K. So that's a $9.9 million cap hit for year one. That cap hit explodes next year with $24 million in 2025. In the last 2 years, the deal cap hits each of $21 million. So the dead money really drops a lot after year 2 and significantly drops going after year 3. So the Titans have the ability to get out of it with only $7.5 million of dead money, I believe. No, I'm sorry. Make that $17.5 million of dead money after the first 2 years and just $5 million of dead money going into year 4 if L'Jarius Sneed is needed to be moved on from at that point. So you don't have to spend him or give him a $15 million salary in 2027 if you think it's time to move on. So I think a pretty solid contract for L'Jarius Sneed, getting $31.5 million in fully guaranteed money, but he's going to get a lot of good money in the first couple of years to make it that $55 million guaranteed overall right there. So Sam, any thoughts on that contract breakdown?
I think it's interesting the lower cap hit in year 1, which, was the theme of the Calvin Ridley contract as well. A lower cap hit in 2024 that escalates as you get further down the line. Surprised there's not more guarantees up front, considering the Titans' current cap situation. They still have a good chunk of salary cap space here. So maybe that just means they're still planning to get busy. Maybe that means they're still planning to go sign a safety, an edge rusher, an offensive tackle, whatever it might be. That's what jumps out to me normally, because L'Jarius Sneed was scheduled to make $19 million against the cap in 2024 while playing on the franchise tag. And now that number is cut in half with the new structure. So for whatever reason, Rand Carthon and Chad Brinker and the Titans brass choosing to take that cap relief up front instead of paying it now, which generally I operate in the philosophy that, like, if you have the cap space and you're not going to spend it on the guys that are under contract by restructuring deals to give you cap space in the future. Take that hit now when you can afford to do it. And then free up some money later, but maybe they've got more coming.
Yeah, and Rand Carthon talked about that yesterday in his press conference, and let's go ahead and get to what Rand Carthon had to say about one of these offensive line narratives in the NFL draft that's really going to have us dive into a fun conversation in the mid part of today's show and get you guys more involved already. But here was Rand Carthon yesterday when asked about a lot of offensive line questions at his press conference.
Is your starting right tackle on the roster right now? Is your starting left tackle in the draft?
We'll answer draft questions at a later date because, again, this is more about free agency. And to say is our starting right tackle, we got more than 5 offensive linemen on on the roster, so we can roll out any 5 and call them starters if you want to at this point. But we're going to, like I just told TD, we're going to continue to look to bolster up front. We've added weapons around Will. Still got to be able to protect him. Got 2 good backs out of backfield that can make explosive plays. So we want to continue to balance this thing out, and make this a balanced football team.
Thoughts on the tackle market? What are your thoughts on?
No, they're still good players. Players that have played, a ton of snaps in this league, but, not to get too far ahead, but this tackle draft class is pretty deep. And so we're going to, like we always do, we're going to find the best option for us, and hopefully we make the right decision.
So, Sam, that's something that you and some other media members kind of walked away from that press conference. We're like, that could mean a couple different things. Take me through and the audience through. By the way, we need more likes on the show. Hit the like button. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, there's so many more people watching that have not hit that like button yet. Like, there's over 200 people on YouTube that have not liked the show. There's nearly 100 people on Facebook that have not liked the show. So hit that like button, please, for us. But Sam, take us through the conflicted reception of what that message meant from you guys in Titans media after that press conference yesterday.
Well, the title of the show talks about an NFL draft narrative that the Titans will not stop feeding us. And that narrative is the depth at offensive tackle. This seems to be something they are insistent upon talking about. Look how deep offensive tackle is. Look how deep offensive tackle is. Ran Carthon, even there, when asked about the offensive tackle market in free agency, referred back to the depth of the offensive tackle draft class. And so it got a lot of people thinking, and really it got us thinking because of how we all kind of took it differently, right? I think you can look at that a number of different ways. Number one being, well, if the Titans love the depth at offensive tackle, and we know how much they love Bill Callahan and his ability to develop, that means maybe they pass on an offensive tackle in the first round, trust the depth of the class, and take guys later. Maybe the depth of the class and their love of the depth of the class just means they're going to take a bunch of offensive linemen, that they'll take one at 7, they'll take one at 38, and they might take one in the 5th round too, because they love the depth that much. Maybe this means they're going to go at number 7 and they're willing to trade back because they like the depth of that first round. You don't really know how deep Rand is talking when he talks about, hey, this class is deep. But I think you can take clearly this is a message the Titans are wanting to get out there. Now we have to ask ourselves why.
Yeah, and why? And I want to get to another video, Sam. And this video was posted before the Titans press conference yesterday. But Ran Carthon and the Titans overall, not just yesterday, but throughout this offseason, have been making these type of comments. And even voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, is starting to buy into something about this.
Every mock draft has the Titans taking an offensive lineman at number 7 on April 25th in the first round of the draft. And if I was doing a mock, I would probably put an offensive lineman there myself. But here's the wild card that I just keep thinking about, and that's Bill Callahan, the Titans offensive line coach, who is just a guru. He knows exactly what he's going to need to run an offensive system that we haven't even seen yet. So who of these linemen fit in the draft what the Titans are going to run? And maybe the more important question, what does he think about the guys who are already under contract? I don't know. But I think when it comes to offensive linemen, the final say in the room is going to be Bill Callahan. And we've got to stop and think for just a second. We don't know what he thinks, and keep that in mind.
I mean, I love Mike Keith's social media. He waited. Mike Keith might have been one of the last people in our industry to get on Twitter. And I wish that he would have started sooner, because same thing with Instagram. Mike Keith is gold on both Twitter and Instagram. And I thought that when I saw that video yesterday, I'm like, man, you even got the VOT. You even got the great Mike Keith starting to question his own thoughts about what the Titans need to do in the first round. That means the Titans are throwing all types of 7 different types of smoke to really throw off the great Mike Keith, who knows so much about what this organization wants to do. And so I think this brings us to our question here. So, we haven't really gotten you guys involved as much today outside of is L'Jarius Sneed top 5 and throwing tomato emojis at Sam. But let's make a statement and play a buy or sell game. So I'm going to make a statement, and we're going to ask you, do you buy this or sell this? Rain Carthon's comments means the Titans will pass on first-round offensive tackle. Is that a buy or a sell? Rain Carthon's comments mean the Titans will pass on first-round offensive tackle. Buy or sell? We'll get to all of your comments and reactions to that here momentarily. But first, I want to tell everybody about our great friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. They can help you out with whatever your situation is. If you need health coverage to help save you money and get better coverage overall, Farm Bureau Health Plans can do that. They've done that with Zach Bingham. They've done that with Jack Gentry. If you're maybe in a situation where you're out there on your own, independent contractor, entrepreneur, and you can't use your family's coverage anymore because you've gotten to that 26-year-old number right there, Farm Bureau Health Plans can come in and save the day and get you great coverage, saving 20% or so per month on your coverage and not having to pay out of pocket for dental or for vision. That's what Zach's plan allowed him to do when he switched to Farm Bureau Health Plans a few years ago. And they can do that for whatever your situation may be. They've served Tennesseans for over 75 years, and so much has changed that time across the state. But Farm Bureau Health Plan's commitment to the state and to the community within the state has not changed whatsoever. So check them out and get a quote online by going to our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. They're the king of sportsbooks because you can use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. We've got Final Four action coming up this weekend. Major League Baseball is in full swing. There's a lot of good things to get involved in if you are looking to get into the betting space. Do it with BetMGM. Use that bonus code, ATOZ Sports, and up to $1,500 back into your account in the form of a bonus bet if you do not win.
All right, so we asked this question, and I'm going to play Rain Carthon again so people that missed it earlier can have the full context. The statement that we're making, it's a buy or sell. Rain Carthon's comments mean the Titans will pass on first-round offensive tackle. Buy or sell? And here is Rain Carthon again yesterday discussing the offensive line.
Is your starting right tackle on the roster right now? Is your starting left tackle in the draft?
We'll answer draft questions at a later date because, again, this is more about free agency. And to say is our starting right tackle, we got more than 5 offensive linemen on the roster, so we can roll out any 5 and call them starters if you want to at this point. But we're gonna, like I just told TD, we're gonna continue to look to bolster up front. We've added weapons around Will. Still got to be able to protect him. Got 2 good backs out of backfield that can make explosive plays. So we want to continue to balance this thing out, and make this a balanced football team.
Thoughts on the tackle market? What are your thoughts on?
No, they're still good players. Players that have played, a ton of snaps in this league, but, not to get too far ahead, but this tackle draft class is pretty deep. And so we're going to, like we always do, we're going to find the best option for us, and hopefully we make the right decision.
All right. Buy or sell. I just started a poll on YouTube as well because we've got that. And so the question, the statement that we're making for the buy or sell is Rain Carthon's comments about the offensive line. That means the Titans will pass on first-round offensive tackle. Buy or sell that. So, Sam, I'll let you jump into what you were going to get into.
Well, Hello Ladies is going to sell. Jake Hughes is going to buy. Billy Jones is going to sell. Small buy from Josh. We have a buy from Steven and Reginald. We've got some sells coming in from Titans Kyle, Luman, Ethan, and Danny. Chris is going to buy. Major Keys is going to buy. For the love of the game is going to buy. Rooney's going to buy. Scott's selling. Eric is selling. Jared is selling. Steven is selling. Willie is selling. Mike is buying. Bork is buying. Jody and Don are all buying. So, Austin, this one appears to be pretty 50-50 up to this point. I've got sells from Landon and Jason and Kenneth while Matt is hitting the buy button. Guy is going to sell. Brock is going to sell. Skip is going to sell. Rashid is going to buy. Maybe a slight, so hit me with the YouTube poll results, but I would say it's 60-40
So
Sell?
it's a very young poll because I just started it. It's only got 55 votes, but it's just 2 minutes old. So, Sam, what was your prediction on it?
I think it's going to be like 60-40 in the sell department.
Okay, you're pretty damn close. It is 58-42, 57-43 as more votes come in, but 50, not 59. It's fluctuating because now we've
I'm
got
on
10
it
more
though.
votes.
59 is in 60. I'm right there.
Yeah, 58% sell at the exact moment, but more votes rolling in. We're getting a few more buys that float in here, and it's back and forth and back and forth, but high 50% sell, Sam. So what is your answer?
I'm gonna buy this. I am gonna buy this. I take this and I will continue to interpret this as Rand Carthon and the Titans getting Titans fans ready for when they read the card and he says, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, LS Rome Odunze, wide receiver at 7. I think we are avoiding the reaction that Titans fans had last year when there wasn't a wide receiver in that first couple of picks, and you were sitting there like, well, I like Tajay Spears, but how do you not take a wide receiver? I like Will Levis. How do you not take a wide receiver? Get ready. This is, hey, trust the depth. Trust our evaluation of the depth. Trust Bill Callahan. We don't need to take one at 7 to get a good player that can start. Do I think this could mean the Titans take 2 offensive tackles in the draft that they believe can play for them? Yep. Do I think one of them is going to be at 7? Not necessarily. I think we could see one in the 2nd and one in the 4th. And I think realistically, Rand Carthon could believe that both of those guys can play and be starters for his football team. So I will say, I will buy this, that this narrative of trust the depth, trust the depth, trust the depth means we're looking at more possibilities for offensive tackles who can be impactful and fewer possibilities for wide receivers who can be impactful. Hence why the touchdown scorer is going to be where the Titans go in the first round.
Ah, yes. All right. So updating the poll and getting some more comments before I do it. It's still at 58% sell on our buy versus sell poll on our YouTube chat. So if you're on YouTube, you got to do 2 things: like the show and vote. What?
I got to raise my hand. I got another thing to add here. This is all dependent on the board, as always.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Titans, and I've asserted this, I will say it again, whatever. I've banged this drum obnoxiously, and I'm not going to stop for the next 24 days until the draft happens. I think they love Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors is going to be their pick if he's there for them. I do think there is a scenario where potentially Malik Neighbors is not on the board. Maybe Joe Alt's not on the board. I don't know how that situation plays out, but the Titans could react to the board in front of them, trade back, and still take an offensive lineman in the first round. Like, they could come away with a tackle. It just might be at pick 14 or 15. I feel less and less confident, though. Like, I'm more convinced that they will not take a tackle at 7 right now than I was even 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and look, man, this is so fun. I love this time of year. And like I told this to Zach earlier in the week, whether it was Monday or Tuesday, I have settled that there is going to be at 7 a very good player the Titans can take and that can be a starter and impact player for them for a 5-year rookie contract and then like a 3 to 4 year extension, right? Like, there is a legitimate dude the Titans can take, and they might have an option of 2 of them. I think it's very possible that the Tennessee Titans will be able to make a decision between Joe Alt or Rome Odunze, wide receiver Washington. And I think that's a really tough decision because I think Rome Odunze, I like Neighbors more than Odunze. I like Harrison more than Odunze. But I think Rome Odunze is the right type of guy to have as a rookie behind Ridley and Hopkins for 1 year, and then with Ridley in year 2 to really just be the guy afterwards. I just don't know if the Titans want to go that way or if they want to go alt. But
here's another scenario, and that exact one that you laid out, right? So you're painting the scenario where it's 4 quarterbacks, Neighbors, and Harrison that go in the top 6. So the Titans are sitting there, and Mel Kiper's best available on the mock draft ticker is going to say Joe Alt, tackle, Notre Dame, Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Washington. Titans fans are going to be saying either one is fine. Give me either one. They might have their opinions about a preference, but they'll be okay with it. And then the Titans might trade back, pass on both of them, and take somebody else at pick 15. Because here's the deal. When you talk about Joe Alt, even if he is the Titans' offensive tackle 1, the question that they have to ask themselves is, 1, what's the scheme fit? And 2, what is the gap between Joe Alt and offensive tackle 3, offensive tackle 4, offensive tackle 5, that they could potentially get a massive pick in that second round, in the third round, whatever it is, right? I mean, we went through a scenario, a week and a half ago, Austin, where the Titans jumped back to 11 and 27 with Minnesota. Now,
23. Minnesota
23. Yeah, sorry. Minnesota's not trading up to draft Joe Alt. But is there another scenario where you can get a early second round pick to jump back 5 spots and you still come out with an offensive lineman? And maybe if the gap between Alt and that next tackle is not significant, or Bill Callahan has a really strong evaluation on some of that offensive line depth that we talk about, depth here, that is something the Titans are more willing to do. So I think that's the key when I wish I would have really thought this through and thought about it yesterday to follow up and ask Ran about this specifically. And I'll plan to do it if we can get some more Ran Carthon availability at our next media session. But when he refers to depth, what is he referring to? Is he referring to that first, like there's 10 guys with a first round grade, or there's 25 guys that he think can be solid players?
Starters. Yeah.
And and there's a very different reaction and result to those two different things. And I'm not sure which one it is, but can you not see a world where the Titans trade back, everybody's outraged because they passed on Joe Alt, and then they're sitting at the podium talking about how much they love Troy Fautanu or somebody like that because they just traded back and drafted him at 15.
So we asked the buy or sell. I'm going to go ahead and update. The poll is still 57% sell, 43% buy. It's still just 10 minutes old on that poll. I should have done that earlier. But still, I say buy. I'm with you, Sam. I do think the Titans, I buy the idea that they are not just going to be locked into an offensive tackle at 7, right? Like I co-sign what you said. I think the interesting thing for me is I think there's going to be 2 trades in the top 10. Yeah. I don't know if the Titans are going to be a part of it or not. Here is my new idea. And I'll go a step further. Last year, I had a dream. A Titans draft dream. I don't know if you remember this, but it was in the month of April. Hello, April 2nd dream. I had a dream last night, by the way.
I do remember this.
I
also remember your little Post-it note that you wrote down.
Yes, that still haunts me. That's nightmare, right? So I had my Titans draft dream for the first time last night, April 2nd into April 3rd. Last year, my Titans draft dream that Jim Wyatt joked when I texted it to him said, well, some people can call that a nightmare. It was the weekend before the draft. And I dreamt that the Titans drafted Will Levis. It happened. Not exactly how my dream said it was going to, but it happened. I had a Titans draft dream last night. And I will tell you what my Titans draft dream was this year.
I'm terrified.
But first, Krebs Kubota is where you should turn for all of your equipment needs. KrebsKubota.com. They've got 3 locations across the mid-state for your convenience: Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro. And they are the best when it comes to any type of equipment, big or small, for those outdoor projects around your home, so residential or commercial needs. And they are an elite Kubota dealer, meaning they have the best equipment in the industry and the best warranties to pair along with said equipment. And they can make sure that you've got exactly what you need how to pay for it. If you need to buy it because that's something you're going to need consistently, then buy the machine. If you don't need it consistently, then they're not just going to make you buy it. You can rent it for the weekend, rent it for however long you need, and turn it right back in, because Krebs Kubota is all about building a relationship with you, just as they have with us this past year. KrebsKubota.com is where to check them out. Once again, family owned and operated for over 18 years with 3 locations across the mid-state, Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro. Online, KrebsKubota.com.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, place that wager with that bonus code, and even if it loses, that money goes back into your account in the form of a bonus bet with a second chance to win big. 2 chances is what makes BetMGM the king of sportsbooks. Bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so I said last night I had my first Titans draft dream of the season.
Fantastic tease, by the way. Like I rushed through BetMGM there, being like, "Hey, let's get to this draft dream."
All right. So last year, my Titans draft dream, the weekend before the draft week, was that the Titans took Will Levis at 11. They didn't take Will Levis at 11. They took him at 33, but it happened, right? This year, my Titans draft dream, at least last night's dream, I woke up and I was like, well, here's a show point. And I didn't tell you in our pre-show meeting. The Titans traded back from 7. But they traded back into the 20s. And I don't know what that means. That was the extent of my dream. They traded back into the 20s.
A lot to go back to the 20s.
Yes. And so I know they've got multiple picks this year in that. But my thought is they traded back into the 20s to get that second crop wide receiver. That wasn't what I dreamed. That wasn't the trade result. I woke up before the Titans were on the clock again in the 20s, but they traded back into the early to mid 20s. And I was thinking, what is this? And it was not Minnesota 11 and 23. It was not that. It was a team that it was like when you dream things and you like talk to a human being.
It's an AI team. It's an AI team. You're
exactly.
like, you see the branding and you're like, oh, that's a team, but it's not a distinct.
But it's not a real team. Like it was. So that's exactly what it was. Not Minnesota, but it was around mid 20s. And I woke up and I was like, damn, the 20s. And I'm thinking that's like A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, one of those type of guys. And so again, I don't know what it means, but that was my first Titans draft dream of the season. I don't know why I'm having draft dreams, but I don't hate it because it's fun content.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. And nothing is off the table for me. Rand is doing something. Do
you know why?
There's a reason. What?
I will tell you more details about my draft dream and maybe this is why it's it, because the part of my dream was based on our conversation about our draft show earlier in the week of if they trade back while we're live.
Yeah.
That
would suck if it was back into the 20s and we were like,
and that was a part of my dream. Part of my dream was the Titans traded from 7 back to the 20s. And I was like, man, we got to tell Sam and Jack that we need to stop and set up to go live later.
Yeah.
But I don't know who it was with or what happened. But again, my first draft dream of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I have been anti-trade back. I think I'm just going to have to maintain that because I do believe in what you said off the top here, which is you are positioned at 7. I think better than most teams who draft 7th overall are positioned at 7 normally. You have a chance to draft, in my eyes, a blue chipper at either wide receiver or offensive tackle. And that's really rare at 7th overall. But with the possibility of 4 quarterbacks going at the beginning of the draft, the high-end talent of this draft, to me, too good to pass up. And so I don't really care if it's back to 11, back to 13, back to the 20s like your draft dream says. I think the Titans need to stick and pick at 7 and take advantage of the fact that you might have the choice of like the 3rd best player, that's not a quarterback, and he might even be higher on your board than 3rd best. That's a really unique opportunity here. I'm anti-trade back, but man, it's fun to imagine what they'd get back if they went from 7 to 24 or something like that.
24 is the Cowboys. I don't think Jerry Jones, Gerald
22.
Right. 22 is the Eagles, I believe, who have a couple second-round picks. Like, I think if you do that,
anybody from Georgia going in the top 10 that they're going to trade up for? Again, I don't think so, but
Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah, maybe. There you go. He might not go in the top 10, but that'd be funny.
But that's your Georgia connection. So again, like that, look, you can make Lou Man says that I'm telling stories. He doesn't believe me. That's fine. You don't have to believe me. And Devin says that my first draft dream sounds like a scary quote. Look, I don't know why I'm dreaming about I do know why I'm dreaming about the NFL draft, because I feel like every day I am thinking up and looking through draft content for the last 2 months. But again, I want to be transparent. I had the draft dream last year that the Titans drafted Will Levis at 11. They got him at 33. I had a dream last night. They traded from 7 back to the 20s. This would
be a great clip if it happens.
I'm going to text our guy Matt after the show to have him set that thing up. And I've got a screenshot and a text message of me telling Jimmy last year that I had a dream of them drafting Levis. And so it's documented. And I wanted to document my first draft dream so far this year. I think that would be a haul. The Titans, and that's another topic for another day that we don't have to get into right now, but is getting a 20-something overall pick, another second rounder, and a third rounder to get 3 guys, and then that would be 4 players in the top 75. Is that greater than 2 players in the top 38? And that's, we've got 3 weeks to get into this, because the Titans have holes. They've got needs to fill, and 2 guys in the top 38 will do that, but it won't fill all of them. 4 guys in the top 80 will do a lot, but you're missing out on maybe a blue chip guy. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. I will save my 2. This was not a dream. This is just an idea that I think there are going to be 2 trades in the top 10 that don't involve the Titans, and I'll save that for another day. But Sam, any other thoughts on my dream or my scenarios here before we get into trivia?
No, I mean, I think Rand Carthon is doing tremendous at this, because he is clearly sending a message, and this is kind of ideal for a general manager. When your messaging to the media and to the fans can be interpreted 4 different ways ahead of the draft, and it really leaves you open for anything and for doing anything. I mean, if the Titans take an offensive tackle at 7, we'll say, well, they loved the depth and they'll probably add another one. If they take a wide receiver at 7, we'll say, well, they love the depth and they're going to go get one later. If they trade back, we'll say, well, they love the depth and they believe in Bill Callahan. And that, like, there are so many different things the Titans could do. I don't know which direction that they're going to go. I have my opinions and my areas that I lean. But I think this is really clever, crafty stuff from Rand Carthon, because depth can mean a number of things, like we said.
Yeah, no doubt. And, Buck reported after the firing of Mike Vrabel that somebody inside the NFL called Rand Carthon a master politician. And I think we're really starting to see it play out in his second NFL draft, and this one where he's really running the show with Vrabel out the door and playing craps in Vegas. All right, Sam, are you ready for sports trivia?
I am. Let's do it.
Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. Make sure you see them in Lebanon, or you go say hey to Payne Bone, our buddy out there. WilsonCountyHyundai.com, cheaper than those downtown prices. Sam, it is now time. Are you ready for our Wednesday trivia?
Let's go.
All right, here we are. Got the graphics rolling here. We got 9 categories. We have one rule, and that is 2 rules. 1, no Googling. 2, the chat picks the second category. I pick the first, and I will let the chat pick the third category, because I see Jody and Rooney were neck and neck. Category is going to be snacks and candy.
So that's where we're starting.
Start with snacks and candy, and I've got Jody and Rooney with the next two coming up.
Founded in the U.S. by an Italian chocolatier, Lindt owns this brand known for its variety of individually wrapped mini chocolate squares.
Ooh.
I
believe
I know this.
We had a Lindt versus Lindor question a few weeks ago. I don't know if that was with you or with Jack.
Well, Lindt being owned by an Italian chocolatier is really interesting because it is Swiss, I believe, which I guess they border each other, but that's interesting. I
think I know this one, and I'm seeing some people in the chat are on it.
I have not looked in the chat, but
okay.
Mini chocolate squares, Italian. This sounds Ghirardelli to me.
Yep, that was exactly what I thought. Hello, ladies, Ghirardelli. I see David Ghirardelli and with the broken coccyx with the Ghirardelli. I think IR says Ghirardelli. BMO. I haven't seen BMO in a while. BMO, what you been up to, man? Glad to have you back on the show. But Ghirardelli, and yeah, there's your spelling.
Bang. Yeah, it's not IR Hoshi said Toblerone, but Toblerone notorious for the triangle.
The triangles, and they're also coming like a stick that you break apart, right?
Yep.
All right, so Jody was first on the second category with movies. Rooney would be after that with music. So Jody gets movies, and then Rooney will get music afterwards.
All right, movies. After having the lead role in a major film franchise from 2008 to 2012, this woman earned a Best Actress Oscar nomination for her portrayal of Princess Diana in the 2021 film Spencer. After having the lead role in a major film franchise from 2008 to 2012. Okay, and then so this is the Best Actress nomination or the Best Nomination.
Yeah, I don't know, but
okay. I do know who this is.
You do?
Yes.
Based on what?
I do remember her being nominated at the Oscars for what movie, but it's really the major film franchise that gives it away for me.
What is the major film? Like the chat is on it. I have no idea.
2008 to 2012 would be the Twilight timeline.
Oh. That's what people are saying, Kristen Stewart.
So that Kristen Stewart makes sense to me. I didn't realize she played Princess Diana, but I do remember her receiving a nomination in the major category recently. So
Kristen
let's
Stewart.
Go ahead and do Kristen Stewart here.
Is it Ian?
Yeah, right here. Boom. There we go.
Right.
2 for 2.
Right.
I'm liking this little setup we got where I don't look at what the chat's saying early and then you, I don't know. I like it because I get to play along.
It works.
Sure.
All right. Rooney had music.
Music. It's like rain on our wedding day. It's a free ride when you've already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. Our lyrics from 1996 Alanis Morissette song. I'm not going to be any help here. I don't listen to Alanis Morissette. Chat is, I don't know if you know this, Austin, but chat's coming in with an answer.
That's all over it. And I have no clue. Like, I'm sure if I heard it.
I don't know how this goes.
Ironic. Maybe it's like the easiest answer in the world. And Sam, you and I are just out on this one, but.
Yeah, Sean John, Ashley, American Toff, Matt, Stephen King, and everybody was on it. It's ironic. And
how about the little A to Z nugget? One of our great business advisors, Scott Welch, was the manager of Alanis Morissette.
There you go. Well, Scott's going to be very disappointed in us that we didn't get.
Should know that because I've heard some stories of Scott's time as a band/artist manager, not from her, but just from others. But a little A to Z inside A to Z nugget that we can drop there. All right, let's get a tic-tac-toe on the bottom and go TV here.
All right, TV. The reality series Nanny 911 originally ran on what major network from 2004 to 2007? Oof. Austin, you're a reality guy.
No, I'm not. I am not a reality guy.
Yeah, well, I feel like
I'm recently a little bit of a reality guy, but very specific when it comes to traders, which we can talk off air about.
Sure. I I am not familiar with this show. Major Network throws me off because Ashley came out with like TLC, which this sounds like a TLC show. This is very up TLC's alley.
Not a major network.
But not a major network. I don't think MTV, as Steven says, is a major network either. I think we're looking at ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS.
Yeah.
I mean, major network, right?
We're getting NBC. We're getting Fox. We're getting people
a lot
are saying
of Fox.
Fox.
Jeff, Matt, Mike saying Fox. So let's go ahead and roll with them. I have no idea. Fox it is. Fox is the right answer. Good on the chat for that one. Yeah. Nanny 911. No shot.
Maybe it was syndicated on TLC after on Fox.
Could be.
Never know.
Be.
All right, let's go with Major League Baseball.
All right, let's go. MLB with the Marlins from 2003 to 2007. This starting pitcher won a World Series, was the 2003 Rookie of the Year, and finished second in 05 Cy Young voting. I got it. I think.
Every time.
There's two, and I know who you're thinking of, and he's one of my two.
Every time I see a Marlins pitcher from this era, I think Dontrelle Willis.
I know you do.
That's my guy.
Yeah, I know
That's
you think
my
Dontrelle Willis. I think it's Josh Beckett.
Yeah, we got some Beckett. David says Beckett or Willis. Stephen King, Jacob say Beckett. Nick says Josh Beckett. Jacob, Josh Beckett.
I think it's Josh Beckett.
Dre Bay says Josh Beckett. I think we have to go Josh Beckett. I don't think Dontrelle Willis was maybe a little older than that.
Yeah. He was on that 03 team, so it really.
I think he was. Matt says Dontrelle Bookett.
He was on that 03 team, but he might be just a little bit older. I think 03 Rookie of the Year is Beckett, though.
You know what? We had a Josh Beckett question about him.
We did have a Josh Beckett question, and you thought it was Dontrelle Willis, but that included his time going to the Red Sox.
I think let's. Damn it! I don't know.
I want to say Willis. I
go
agree with Nick,
Dontrelle.
but I agree with Nick here. I think Willis was also like on the 97 team.
I don't think so. Bobby Lee says Marlins fan here. It's Willis. Let's go Dontrelle. And look, we have a backup answer if we miss it.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's roll with Dontrelle because we did have that Josh Beckett question. Is your guy Dontrelle Willis is the right answer? And I missed a baseball question. That's a bummer.
Yes, I got one. Sin missed one. Baseball. All right, let's go celebrity mashup.
Celebrity mashup. We have two people there, and oh man,
I think I have the outside. Maybe.
It's not Jimmy Kimmel, if that's what you're thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
It kind of looks like Jimmy Kimmel, but I don't think that's who that is. Maybe it is if we both thought of Jimmy Kimmel.
I think it's Jimmy Kimmel because Matt says Jimmy Kimmel.
It actually might be Jimmy Kimmel.
I think it's Jimmy Kimmel.
His head looks a little too round to be Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm trying to a ton of Jimmy Kimmels.
Trying to zoom in on the
inside.
Is that oh, I know who this is. Oh, what's her name? The Notebook.
Amy Adams?
No, The Notebook.
Crap. Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams?
No. Scroll in. Zoom in.
Are you sure? I think this is Rachel McAdams.
That's not Rachel McAdams.
I think it might be Rachel McAdams. Block that out. That's a Rachel McAdams face to me.
Maybe.
I don't think it's Elizabeth Banks, although it does kind of look like.
It's not Rachel McAdams.
I don't know. Looks kind of close to me. I don't have another answer. That's the problem.
Jessica Simeon? Who's that?
Jessica Simpson is who they're trying to say, and I don't think that's Jessica Simpson.
Hold on.
To be fair, I don't really know what Jessica Simpson looks like, but I think that's Rachel McAdams.
Hold on. Somebody said Rachel has a beauty mark, though. Zoom in. If you see it right above the chin on the beard, there's a little bit of something right there.
Yup.
I think you might be right.
Maybe it might not be. Do we think it's Jessica Simpson? What about Jessica Simpson's sister? Is she famous enough to be on this thing? I don't know.
I think we have to go with Jimmy Kimmel and Rachel McAdams.
All right, chat. Roll in. Final answer. This is annoying me too because I feel like I know this face, and Rachel McAdams is the closest thing, but I feel like I should know this. Final answer on the inside. It's not Blake Lively. Veto.
I think it's Rachel McAdams.
All right,
Jimmy
let's do it. Because I want to be right, because that'll make up for my baseball miss. Bang!
Oh!
Hey, chat. Who said it wasn't Rachel McAdams?
Me, and then you, and then some others. I did say Jimmy Kimmel. You said it wasn't Jimmy Kimmel.
That is true. My initial reaction was it's
a wash. It's a wash.
No, I was because I came around to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, books.
Alive from 1905 to 1982, this Russian-born American author was known for books like The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. I feel like it's not supposed to be Shrugged. It could be Atlas Shrugged, but that felt too American to be Atlas Shrugged. So I'm trying to put a little Russian flair on it.
So I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no shot.
Russian authors from the 1900s is nothing I know anything about. But the chat seems like it's all over it with Ayn Rand.
I don't know how chat's on that. I've never heard that name in my life.
Yeah. And those were quick. Answers, which makes me feel confident in this. So, all right, NBA.
Yeah, books and Russian authors, two things that I'm not going to get on trivia. NBA. After winning Collegiate Player of the Year, Jimmer Fredette was a top 10 pick and made his NBA debut for this Western Conference team in 2011. I know this one. I love this one.
Where did Jimmer start?
Jimmer. I do know this one.
Stephen King says the Sacramento Kings. Matt says the Sacramento Kings. Lucas says the Sacramento Kings. And because I never remember anybody who plays for the Sacramento Kings since the great Chris Webber, Jason Williams teams, I think the Kings make sense.
Yeah. Kings was the first reaction I had as well. I do think Jake could be onto something. He definitely played for the Pelicans. But I think that's after he started with the Kings. So
when did the Pelicans become the Pelicans?
That's what I was kind of doing in my head. I believe it was like the 2013 season is when they became the Pelicans.
God, that's
because it was Anthony Davis played for the Hornets.
Yeah, but the Hornets have been back in Charlotte for way longer than that. Well, I guess they were the Bobcats, then they became the Hornets again.
Yes.
That's a confusion.
Because they were the New Orleans Hornets when Anthony Davis was on the New Orleans Hornets, and then they became the New Orleans Pelicans. So,
and then the Charlotte took the Hornets back.
As Nate says, Davis was drafted around 11 and 12, which I was around that same timeline as well, which is why I believe this has to be the Kings.
All right, let's go the Kings.
There it is.
Okay. All right. NFL to wrap this baby up.
All right. NFL. After 10 years in Houston, J.J. Watt played the final 2 seasons of his NFL career with this NFC team. What a beach ball to end it. Should I just type it in?
You can go ahead and do that. We're over an hour, 5 minutes, so we got that one right. All right. 18 is our score. Have we discovered what the score does? Is it time?
No, I don't think we've discovered that yet, or cared enough to actually try and discover it. But
all right. New thought. Should we start trivia with the NFL question because we typically nail it?
Sorry?
Should we start trivia moving forward?
Maybe that's the meta here is we're too good at it. So let's save something fun like celebrity mashup or something we struggle with typically for the end. That might be
Okay.
the way to go.
Fair enough. All right, then we'll do that starting next week. But that's it for today's Wednesday show. Appreciate all of you guys for jumping on here. We still have some merch left. So get all of your merch at shop.a2zsportsnashville.com, 40% off. I was talking with Zach, a little bit earlier in the week about our plans for our new merch. So once we sell out the majority of that merch right there on shop.a2zsportsnashville.com, we're going to start to ramp up our new merch plan for the football season. So check that out right there. It's already marked down. I'm rocking the long sleeve tee today. Sam's rocking the hat right there. You can get both these things at shop.a2zsportsnashville.com for 40% off. The Nashville hat is sold out, but the hat that doesn't have the Nashville is still there. So you can check that out too. But we will check you guys tomorrow morning on a Thursday. Buck Rising will be live tonight for A to Z Sports Prime Time. And make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Always way more people watch the show than hit the like button. So just like the show for us. That goes a long way for us. We appreciate that. And we appreciate all of you guys as always. Check you tomorrow morning. Thanks.